Live from the 301, live from the pod. I want to welcome my audience to episode number 165 of Curry in the Pod. I'm your host, I'm your guy, Mike Curry, and I'm back here in another episode, man. If you missed last week's episode, it was the total opposite of tonight's episode. Tonight we're going to be talking NFL draft, as you can see in the title and the description. But last week's episode, man, I had a very lengthy segment about Russell Westbrook and how I feel like he's been taken for granted, and I think he's a legend, man. I think he's a living legend. So if you missed last week's episode, man, I really, really just want you guys to check out that segment because it was real, real in depth. Even posted a little snippet of the segment on my Instagram, both of my accounts. But yeah, again, if you missed last week's episode, go check it out, man. But tonight is a huge night, and tomorrow night is going to be even bigger than tonight, man. But we got the 2021 NFL Draft just less than 24 hours away. And on this particular episode, man, I'm going to be back here with my guy who was here with me last episode. I'm sorry, last season before the draft. And I didn't even know this, but I looked, and he had a first mock draft last year, maybe like a couple months in advance. And then he had a final mock draft. So we're definitely gonna get into all that good stuff, man, for you mock draft people out here. But I want to welcome my guy, the 15-year-old phenom. If you listen to last year, his voice sounds completely different. Go check that out on episode number 127. Um, just to do a little comparison between how he sounds now and how he used to sound. But my guy is growing up right before our eyes. But Bink, welcome back, man. What's good, man?
Thanks for having me. This is my favorite time of the year, draft time, and I'm in a especially ecstatic mood now because my Celtics finally won a game.
That's good to hear. Yeah, I know it's your favorite time of the year. That's exactly why I gotta have you back. Trying to have a little structure here, man. Me and B Jones, we used to do the NFL season preview, mid-season and postseason. Looks like you're gonna be my go-to draft guy, man, from here on out. So, you
hmm
know, 2 years in a row, man. Let's get right into it, man. I got on my Annie Up Consulting t-shirt, man. Shout out to Annie Up, shout out to Mark, shout out to Rome, shout out to Drew, Matic, Key, shout out to the whole gang, man. Shout out to Andy Up, man. But let's get into it, Bink. Um, First off, man, I know you're excited, man, but just talk to me about how this draft class makes you feel. Just general stuff, man. Just talk to me real quick before we hop into your.
Um, the quarterbacks are always excited in the class. I mean, there's a lot of quarterbacks in this year's class. There's talk that five could go in the top 10, which is which is completely absurd in my opinion. Because there's a lot of teams with quarterback needs, but five going in the top 10 is a lot. The running backs this year, they're pretty good, but I just think last year's class was a little bit better. Again, we have an excellent wide receiver class. I think this wide receiver class might even be better than last year's class, and last year's class was historic.
Yeah,
Um, Defense is kind of lacking a little bit. I mean, people really don't like the safety position. I think there's the safety position in this year's draft, but I think there's actually a lot of sleepers in the safety position. Day two is going to be a big day for the corners in the draft as well.
yeah, yeah, man. I'm excited, bro. I don't even want to waste any more time because we're gonna be here for a little while. We got sleepers. We got a full first round mock draft. Binks is a little different, man. Bink has trades in his mock draft. That's not really the traditional style of doing a mock draft, but when we get to the draft, there's trades, trades, trades. So that makes it very much realistic. So what I'm gonna do for you guys watching on YouTube, I'm gonna share my screen. So I really, really encourage you guys to check this out because I will be sharing my screen, and you can see we have a PowerPoint created by Bink, and here we go. So you can see my screen.
Yeah.
All right, here we go. So we have final mock draft by Garnett, which is Bink's real name. And let's get into it, man. Let's go.
All right. So these are picks 1 through 8. With the first pick, Trevor Lawrence, shouldn't be a question about it. Best quarterback in the draft. Going to which was the worst team in the league last year. There's even people saying that he's even already gotten the playbook. This pick is set in stone. If it's something different, Trevor Lawrence had to done something horrible for this pick to be different.
Facts. Real quick about Trevor Lawrence, man. We've been hearing pretty much ever since he graced Clemson's football field. I forgot what's the QB he replaced. His last name was Bryant, right? Kelly Bryant. That
Yeah,
name?
Kelly Bryant, I think that's his
Yeah,
name.
yeah. So ever since basically Trevor Lawrence stepped foot on the field, it was like set in stone that he was going to be the number one overall pick. Whenever he came out, like this guy has been compared to the likes of John Elway, Andrew Luck, Peyton Manning, and
Yep.
I believe all of that hype is going to come into fruition and be true. I mean, there's a reason that Urban Meyer elected to take the Jacksonville Jaguars head coaching position, and he did it. And what a great slam dunk of a draft pick to have and be able to select this prospect and Trevor Lawrence. So, I'm pretty sure that, like, I'm a million percent sure that's the pick. But let's go.
And if if we're 100% sure that's the pick, I'm pretty much 99.5% sure that Zach Wilson will be the pick at 2 for the Jets. He's not my cup of tea at quarterback. He's my fourth ranked quarterback this year. Um, it's just like he was a real 1 year wonder compared to Justin Fields, who we'll get into a little later. But Zach Wilson will be the pick at 2. Yeah, I feel like these 2 picks have been set for about like a month now.
So, real quick, I want to talk about Zach Wilson, man. I hate to say this because I don't want to sound like a hater, but I'm not overly impressed. And I think he's a good prospect, but I just don't like the fit with the Jets. This this particular situation can have him in a Sam Darnold-esque situation.
That's exactly how I feel.
Like the Jets organization is not good, we know that, but they also don't necessarily have the proper pieces intact to be selecting a quarterback. I honestly think they should have kept Sam Darnold, traded out of this pick, accumulated more picks because Zach Wilson's going to come in. Doesn't have a great offensive line. I like Mekhi Becton, but I can't say that about the rest of the offensive line.
He had
Running,
a really good offensive line at BYU.
yeah, running backs, wide receiver position. It's not looking good, man. It's not looking good. What is it? Keelan Cole and Denzel Mims look like they're going to be his
Corey
receivers.
Davis.
Corey Davis, who neither of us were high on. I mean, this is a guy who was drafted in the top 10 when he came out, and his fifth-year option was declined. So that tells
Is
you,
Frank Gore still on their team?
I don't even know.
Their starting running back might be Ty
Frank Gore
Johnson right
might
now.
still be out there in free agency and just hasn't struck a deal.
Yeah.
But I just this if they're patient with him, it will work. But we live in a society where it's a what have you done for me lately? That's how it is in the sports world. So if they're patient, with this new head coach and regime, Robert Saleh and his staff, if they're patient, I think over time it will work out. But if they're expecting, instant success with Zach Wilson, they're kidding themselves and they're already getting the wrong idea. Because like I said, I'm not overly impressed with how he did at the college level. I mean, he struggled against when he played, ranked opponents and stuff like that. But, that stuff doesn't really matter as much when you get to the next level. You have to prove yourself all over again, and you can overcome that stuff. But the Jets, I just don't like the fit as of right now. If they give him, 3 years to develop, in 3 years, I think he could be something. But this is just not good, man. You come into a division with elite defensive mind.
Defensive coaches.
Belichick. We got what's my guy?
Flores, McDermott.
Yeah, McDermott. Yeah, Flores and McDermott. So this is not ideal, man. But like I said, if they're patient with them, I think it could definitely work and it definitely materialize. Got any further thoughts?
No. I mean, if I was the Jets, I would have just kept Darnold for a year, even though he's not my guy, and just either traded the pick or take Sewell.
For sure, I agree. All right, let's go, Bink. Next pick.
At 3, I have the 49ers taking Trey Lance over Mac Jones. It seems like those two have been jockeying for positioning for being this pick. I just think they opt with the guy with a higher upside. I mean, I know Kyle Shanahan wants Mac Jones, but if the literal whole organization is telling you to take Trey Lance, like what people have been saying, I think they'll eventually end up going with Trey Lance, a guy with a higher upside, a guy who you can even argue is better right now. I mean, you can't knock Mac Jones for who he was throwing to, but he was throwing to a lot of wide open receivers and Jalen Waddle and Devonta Smith. Yes, Trey Lance hasn't faced the level of competition that he's faced, but like I said, those guys were wide open. And Trey Lance also has a rushing upside and is a better athlete than Mac Jones. So I think that's the pick here.
Yeah, for sure, man. I mean, I think when I look at Mac Jones, just to talk about him real quick, I look at him like a Jimmy Garoppolo, in the sense that we've already seen what a pocket passer can do in a Kyle Shanahan's offense. We've even seen him with Nick Mullins and CJ Beathard. But I think Trey Lance or even a Justin Fields adds another dynamic to the offense that Kyle Shanahan likes to run. And
Mm-hmm.
we haven't really seen Kyle Shanahan with a mobile QB since, I want to say, Robert Griffin the third.
Yep.
We haven't really seen it. So I think Trey Lance is a better thrower of the football than RG3 was, as far as, accuracy wise and stuff like that. Like with Kyle Shanahan and RG3, they literally had like a one read offense. And that's what Kyle Shanahan's offense is, in a sense, but they literally tailored their offense around RG3 and what he could do, the zone read option and all that stuff. But I think Trey Lance can do a little bit more than that. So I would like to see it, just because it adds another dimension and another dynamic to Kyle Shanahan's offense. And I would like to see it, man, just because we haven't really seen Kyle Shanahan with a mobile QB in quite some time.
And also, Lance won't have pressure to start right away with Garoppolo there. And how many times are you going to get a quarterback who might go number one in a different class of three? That's how I look at it as.
That's very, very true.
At 4, I have the Atlanta Falcons going Kyle Pitts, tight end from Florida. People look at him, and I look at him as a generational type tight end. He's a generational prospect. With the Julio Jones trade rumors heating back up, I mean, it's the time every year Julio Jones trade rumors heat back up. It seems more and more like Kyle Pitts will be this pick. It started off as a quarterback, but it's kind of tailored more to Kyle Pitts. I mean, I forgot their coach's name, Arthur Smith, that's his name. He had Jonnu Smith. His offense relies a lot on tight ends. I mean, Hayden Hurst is a good option, but Kyle Pitts, he's a wide receiver in a tight end's body. Yep. So I think he's the pick here at 4.
You know how I feel about Kyle Pitts. I think I'm not gonna say overrated. I think he's a tad overhyped. But I do think he's the best player in the draft. I think he's the best player in the draft. Or at least top 3 talent wise in this draft. I would like to see this pick just because I think the Falcons can average 40 points if they get Kyle Pitts. And I want to see that. So yeah, Kyle Pitts, I like it. I'm on board with this mock draft so far.
At 5, I know the Team Sewell lovers will, come after me. I have the Bengals going Jamar Chase. And it's more of Joe Burrow wants Jamar Chase. They're going to give him what he wants to show that he does run the franchise a little bit. I mean, he is their franchise quarterback. He is their guy. I know everybody see the scar on his knee in the Bengals new uniform photo. And like, yeah, they're taking Sewell, but no, I think they take Chase.
Yeah, I agree with this pick in the sense that the Bengals just lost AJ Green via free agency. They need more weapons. I like Tyler Boyd. I like T. Higgins. But I think Jamar Chase is just a step above both of those guys. And that's no knock on either one of those guys I just mentioned, because T. Higgins had a nice year last year, man.
Mm-hmm. He had a nice rookie year.
But I think what the Bengals would do, like you said, man, is just to try to please their franchise quarterback. And I think they'll go offensive line the majority of the remainder of the draft.
And not to mention, the Bengals run 3 wide receivers. The only team that runs 3 wide receivers more than them is the Cardinals. So they need a 3rd wide receiver. I mean, Auden Tate, he's solid, but he's not Jamar Chase.
Right, exactly.
At 6, this might be a shocker. I have the Miami Dolphins going Rashawn Slater, tackle guard hybrid from Northwestern. They need to protect Tua. And people are going to say, do you trade an extra first to get a offensive lineman? I say yes. You see what happened to Mahomes in the Super Bowl. Slater can play tackle or guard. They just traded Eric Flowers, which means they do have an opening on their offensive line. And I think they go Slater over Sewell because Slater is viewed as the more pro-ready prospect.
Okay, yeah, I was just getting ready to ask why Slater and not Sewell, but you answered that question. Okay, next.
And we have a trade to announce. The Patriots are trading up to 7. Detroit Lions are trading back. They're in rebuild mode. They need to gather as many picks as they can. They only have 6 picks in the draft. And the Patriots take Justin Fields, quarterback from Ohio State, my second-ranked quarterback in the class. Justin Fields, there's a lot to say about him. I mean, everybody says he might be a one-read QB. That's just the offense in Ohio State. We've seen him progress from progression to progression. Granted, sometimes he can get locked on to one receiver, but at points, all these college quarterbacks can get locked on to one receiver. Justin Fields has the rushing upside. I feel like he's the second best quarterback right now and can honestly be the best quarterback when it's all said and done. This is scary. He doesn't have to play right away as well, which is a benefit to him. He could sit behind Cam Newton, could sit with Josh McDaniels, learn how to play the Patriot way. And I think this would honestly be a great move for the Patriots.
Yeah, so I do like the Justin Fields pick. I don't know if the Patriots have to trade all the way up to 7, but I mean, I can see it. I can see it. But Bing, real quick, explain to us why you have this trade, and explain why you had to make another mock draft today.
Okay. So I'm gonna do why I needed to make another mock draft today first, because the Denver Broncos, in my last mock draft, you can see it on my TikTok. My TikTok is at my name is Garnett. Um, I had the Broncos taking Justin Fields, and we all know today they just traded for Teddy Bridgewater, which in turn makes me think that Justin Fields will not be the pick at 9, and also that I think somebody will try to jump the Broncos to take Justin Fields. That's why I have the trade here. And yeah, I kind of had to scramble to make this mock draft a little bit.
Mhm.
It was kind of rushed, but it's still some of my best work.
For sure. Let's move on to the next pick.
At 8, I have Carolina taking Patrick Surtain, the second cornerback, Alabama. He's marked to the Cowboys a lot. But Matt Rule has been trying to build a very long and athletic defense for a minute now. And Dante Jackson is a free agent after the season. He gets hurt a lot. I don't know if they're bringing him back, but bringing in a number 1 corner like Surtain can really fortify this defense too. They
And they
drafted all
also got
defense.
James Bradbury in free agency last free.
Oh yeah. I mean, it's not AJ Bouye, but AJ Bouye, he's a band-aid at this point.
Yeah.
And last year they drafted all defense, and their defense went from 31st to 18th. Let's see if the Cowboys can do that.
All right, let's move on.
And here's the trade. Here's the package. If you really care that much, Patriots are not a real big trade, a future first-round pick team. So I have them trading their 3rd this year, their 4th this year, 2nd next year, along with pick 15 to get pick 7.
Got you.
And here's picks 9 through 16. You see a little trade there at the beginning. So I have the Giants trading up and Denver trading back, because it's said that the Cowboys like one of these offensive tackles. And I know that the Giants will try their best to hurt the Cowboys as much as they will. So I have them trading up for Penei Sewell. I mean, the Giants offseason has been mainly about let's give Daniel Jones as much help as he can. This is his make it or break a year. They got Galladay. They got John Ross. They did release their guard, which kind of didn't make sense to me, but they got those guys. They need a guy to replace their guard. They can move Nate Solder there, could put Penei Sewell at right tackle, have Andrew Thomas rock out at left tackle, and try to build a competent offense to try to win the NFC East this season. I think this team will go wide receiver in one of the early rounds, because they're a Galladay injury away from being right back where they were.
For sure. I can see this. I can see this, man. Your mock draft is a little different, but I like it. For disclosure, I say this just about every year when I'm doing this. I haven't done a mock draft since I was in middle school. The last mock draft I had, it involved Percy Harvin. I know I was in middle. So let's just say that. And it's not that I don't knock anybody who does a mock draft for sure. To me, it's just too much to predict. It's just very unpredictable. We see people trade up and
At
trade
most, you're gonna get like 5 to 6 picks right.
right. And
It's just fun.
last year when it came to the receivers, it did not go how I thought it was gonna go.
Yeah. Jalen Rager got picked before Justin
We
Jefferson.
saw CeeDee Lamb fall to the Cowboys. We saw Judy fall. We thought that Judy might have been the first receiver, but he ended up being the second.
Yeah, he was the second. Ruggs was taking that,
Ruggs
what,
was first.
12?
I didn't know Ruggs was gonna be first. So yeah, man, this stuff just hard to predict, man. Yeah, but let's move on to your mock draft and see who you have your Cowboys taking.
I have my Cowboys taking my favorite corner in the draft, J.C. Horn. He's very, very, very athletic and really, really good with his hands. He has solid ball skills. I mean, he's the son of former wide receiver Joe Horn. And the Cowboys, to say the least, we need defense. I mean, and getting another guy on the outside to pair with Patrick Surtain, oh my God, to pair with Trayvon Diggs. We have Jordan Lewis to play slot corner. I really like JC Horn. I know you know that because I've been raving about him a lot.
Yeah,
And I think he'll be a Cowboy.
Cowboys also lost Cheeto Bear Woozier to the Bengals in free agency. Yeah.
11. This is the pick the Broncos got from the Giants, and I've been taking Micah Parsons, linebacker, Penn State. Micah Parsons is an athletic freak. We all know this. He kind of plays a linebacker position more like a defensive end, and that was because he was recruited to play defensive end, but Penn State just wanted to get him on the field. But we all know Vic Fangio works wonders with linebackers, so I don't see this being a problem.
Yeah, I like this. I like that fit. Next.
Philadelphia takes Devonta Smith, wide receiver, Alabama. They got their speed guy last year in Jalen Rager. They hope he does better this year. They need to give Jalen Hurts some type of weapons for him to succeed. And I think Devonta Smith is he's not even a possession guy. He's not a speed guy, but he's not a possession guy. He's just a really good overall receiver and a really great route runner.
Ignition, man.
There's something in the back of my mind just because Philly is like this that they might even consider taking Mac Jones here since they want to have an open quarterback competition. Even though they're
with their coach, bro.
Even though their QBs are Jalen Hurts and Joe Flacco at the moment. Yeah. At 13, I have the Chargers taking Jalen Waddle, and you might say, why don't they take all offensive linemen? Because this team is honestly a Keenan Allen injury away from having their receiving core be Mike Williams and Jalen Guyton, and that's it. Waddle is, in my opinion, he is the best receiver in the draft. He can do it all. I think he's a Odell Beckham-like player. He's fast. He can catch. He can make contested catches with his small frame. He's a really good route runner, and that gets overlooked by how fast he is. And I think Jalen Waddle will fit right in with Justin Herbert and will be one of Justin Herbert's go-to guys there.
That would be an amazing fit. I don't know if it happens. I think somebody could really, really like Jalen Waddle. Somebody, behind these charts, really like Jalen Waddle trade up. I think I know we're going to get into this in a little while, but he's my most intriguing player just because of the injury. But we seen the upside. Jalen Waddle was supposed to be the number one receiver last year before he got hurt. But Devonta Smith, we saw the rest is history, honestly. But
yeah, he's a Heisman winner.
It was really, really intriguing. I think he can end up just about anywhere because I think the demand for him might be really, really high.
You could tell me he ends up with the Giants. You could tell me he ends up with Arizona. You could tell me he ends up with Detroit. And I'm not going to say you're wrong.
Exactly. That's how I feel. Or even a team, behind them trade up for him.
Yeah.
I can see it, bro. I can see Jalen Waddle could go to any team besides the Chiefs or Buccaneers. I seriously think that.
Miami could take him at 6 for all we know.
Exactly, bro. But let's get it.
Moving on, I have Minnesota taking Christian Darrisaw, offensive tackle, Virginia Tech. I know some injury concerns just came out about him, but he'll be ready to start training camp. Vikings need a left tackle really, really badly. They need to protect Kirk Cousins. Darrisaw's the next guy up. Had them taking Darrisaw. Yeah. At 15, this is the pick Detroit got from New England. I have them taking one of my favorite players in the class, Jalen Phillips, defensive end from Miami. Medical concerns since he has had 3 concussions and was forced to medically retire. But if Dan Campbell, coach of the Lions, is right and they want players to bite people's kneecaps off, Jalen Phillips is their guy. Jalen Phillips is a very, very, very good edge rusher. I have him up there with, in the Bradley Chubb range. I think this guy can win Defensive Rookie of the Year if he goes to the right situation. He is really good. He's going to fall because of injury concerns. He might fall even farther than this. But you might be taking the best defensive player in the draft and acquiring a 3rd, 4th, and a future 2nd. That is amazing value if you ask me.
Yeah, especially for the Lions who have, a huge need for talent.
At 16, I have the Cardinals going Greg Newsome. I've been taking Newsome over Farley just because of the injury concerns. Hope he gets well soon. He just contracted COVID. But Greg Newsome, he's the pick here. He's very technically sound. He might not be the flashiest pick, but the Cardinals need corner. I understand they signed Malcolm Butler and they have Byron Murphy, but they lost their guy in Pat Pete. And instead of looking for a guy to play with Pat Pete, now we're looking for a guy to replace Pat Pete.
Yep. Replace Pat Pete, the lineup opposite of Byron Murphy.
And um here's a trade. The Broncos pick up an extra third round pick and just trade back 2 spots.
Got you.
Pick 17 through 24. I know you see a big trade right there at 18, but at 17, the Raiders go Tevin Jenkins. They get the best right tackle in the class. He's an absolute mauler. He's a Gruden guy. I'm pretty sure they're going to pick him at 17. I'm more than sure. At 18, we have a trade. New Orleans trades up all the way from 28. They are talking about trading up. They even want to trade up into the top 15. So I think this is very doable for them. I mean, they trade up a lot in draft. They traded up for Davenport. They traded a future first to get Marcus Davenport, and he's going to really need to step up for them this year. They lost Trey Hendrickson, but I have them taking Jeremiah Owusu-Koramoah, my favorite linebacker in the class. He can cover almost anything. He can fill the role you want Malcolm Jenkins to play. And like, that's how good he is. He's a safety. He's a linebacker. He's a slot corner. He's a do-it-all player, and I feel like the Saints would really like him. At 19, I have the Washington football team going to Elijah Vera Tucker, tackle guard hybrid. They need an offensive lineman. He could play basically anywhere on the offensive line. Good fit. I think Ron very, very really likes him. At 20.
Hey, hold on real quick. I feel like it's either gonna be him or JOK for the football team, but I just don't know, man. I don't know if there's gonna be a run on offensive lineman. Like, is Darisaw and Vera Tucker gonna be gone before the football team pick? And they have JOK. I could see I could see someone trading up for JOK. I don't know, man. I really don't.
Darisaw could very well
Michael Parsons. I don't know.
Yeah. Darisaw could very well go to the Chargers, then we have AVT go to the Vikings. But yeah. At 20, I have the Bears going Rashad Bateman, wide receiver, Minnesota. He is like Allen Robinson a lot, and Allen Robinson.
And this is your third receiver off the board.
Fourth receiver.
I'm sorry, Jamar Chase, Waddle, and Smith.
And Rashad Bateman. I mean, I don't see them taking a quarterback just because it's like their jobs. Ryan Pace and Matt Nagy's jobs are on the absolute line. You have to surround Andy Dalton with some type of talent. Granted, you need offensive linemen as well. But, I mean, Darnell Mooney is solid. But after that, you really don't have nothing outside of Allen Robinson, who doesn't even want to be there.
Yeah.
And Rashad Bateman, I think his testing numbers came in a little bit weird. I mean, he was listed at 6'2", but came in at 6 foot. But tape doesn't lie. He's a really good route runner. He's fast. He can catch. He does it all.
Yeah.
At 21, I have the Giants. What is going on with me? I'm tired. At 21, I have the Colts going Azeez Ojulari, edge from Georgia. If you talk about production, that's what Ojulari brings. Outside of DeForest Buckner, the Colts really have nothing on that defensive line. And you might say, wait, they run a 4-3. Why would they get a 3-4 guy? They do it all the time. They did it with Justin Houston last year. I have another trade. The Bills trade up, and this has been a trade that's been talked about for a minute. The Bills really want to trade up in front of the Jets and the Steelers to grab running back Najee Harris, running back from Alabama. Najee Harris, he's the best running back in the draft. He's the complete package. He could catch. He could jump over guys. He has the power. He has speed. He has everything that you want in a running back. And this takes their offense to another dimension, but finally getting a bell cow back.
Remind me, what running backs came out last year?
Jonathan Taylor, J.K. Dobbins.
Yeah, he's better than all those dudes. He's better, and I like Jonathan Taylor, and I like J.K. Dobbins, but Najee Harris is different, bro.
The only knock on him is that he's 23 years old.
Yeah, but he's gonna come in. He's gonna be ready, man. He's gonna be ready. He's gonna hit the ground running as soon as he gets in.
At 23, I have the Jets going edge, Kwity Paye. It seems like he might go a lot earlier, but he is a really, really good run defender. He might not give you everything in the pass rush game, and maybe that's because Michigan didn't use him well, but he is a really, really good run defender. He's kind of like a D4 type, in my opinion, that Robert Saleh, well, we know he was with the 49ers, so I think he knows how to use Kwity Paye. And at 24, I have the Steelers going Caleb Farley, cornerback, Virginia Tech.
You've been
They
talking
lost
about
Mike.
this for a while. You've been talking about this for a couple of weeks now.
They lost Mike Hilton. They lost Steven Nelson as well. They need a cornerback very badly. And we've seen them go to the Virginia Tech pool when selecting Terrell Evans, who was viewed as a reach at the time. They really like their Virginia Tech players, and the medical on Caleb Farley, I understand that's a very, very big concern. But the Steelers, they're in win now mode as much as they need to be. They need to take the best player at a position of need, which is Caleb Farley. If he didn't have the back concerns, he might be the first corner off the board.
Yeah, I've seen mock drafts that have Caleb Farley higher than this, so
yeah,
he's interesting, bro. Like he could fall really fall like a lot, or he could get drafted here or even earlier.
He might still be there when the Cowboys pick in the second round. Like
definitely one of the most intriguing guys, just because of the injury concern.
Yeah, and then we have 2 trades coming up. So here's the trade details for the Saints. They trade up 10 picks. That's why they're giving up a third, a sixth, and an extra second. Dolphins, they love their draft picks. They hoard their draft picks. They'll love this trade.
They sure do.
Bills and Titans. Titans get pick 161, which I believe is a 4th or 5th round pick. And they also pick up a 3rd round pick to move down 8 spots. And here's picks 25 through 32. 25, the Jaguars take Trayvon Moyer. He's a prototypical safety, one on the back end. He's very instinctive. 26, Cleveland goes with one of the draft's biggest risers in Jamin Davis, linebacker from Kentucky. He's fast. He will tackle you. He can play zone coverage. And did I mention that he's fast? Because he is fast. 27, I have Baltimore going Elijah Moore, wide receiver, Ole Miss. DK Metcalf and AJ Brown kind of starting this Ole Miss wide receiver thing. Elijah Moore, he's like AJ Brown in many ways. In fact, that like he's hard to bring down.
It back. Mike Wallace went to Ole Miss.
I didn't even know that. Yeah, Elijah Moore. And Baltimore likes their shorter receivers. Elijah Moore can play on the slot. He can play on the outside, and he can create instant separation just like that. And that's something the Ravens desperately need. I mean, who's their wide receivers right now? Sammy Watkins, Marquise Brown, Devin Duvernay. Yeah, they need a wide receiver.
Could have started with saying Mark Andrews because he's really everything. But
yeah.
I know he's a tight end, so that's why. But yeah.
At 28, that's the pick Miami got from the New Orleans trade. They take Zaven Collins, linebacker, Tulsa. Zaven Collins, he's a very intriguing player. He's 6'4". He's fast. He can play zone coverage. He's like Kyle Van Noy, who is somebody the Dolphins lost this offseason. And I know they got Bernard McKinney through a trade with Shaq Lawson, but Bernard McKinney is kind of like a Band-Aid. Zaven Collins is the actual healing that they need from that loss. 29, I have the Packers going one of my favorite receivers in this draft, Kadarius Toney, wide receiver from Florida. Can you say explosive? Because that's exactly what he is.
He's absolutely explosive.
And I think even in the Packers offense, he could play kind of like a Deebo Samuel role. He could come around a lot of end arounds, a lot of jet sweeps. He could be the real number 2 that the Packers need to get over the top. Because I know they've been messing with these guys like Marquez Valdez-Scantling and Alan Lazard, but Kadarius Toney, they finally get their first round receiver.
Yep.
Here's the pick Tennessee got from the Buffalo trade. They take Asante Samuel Jr., cornerback, Florida State. Not much to say here. They need a corner. They need defense. They need the back end. So I've been taking Asante Samuel Jr. Here's might be a little surprise. I have Baltimore trading out of their pick they got from Kansas City, and I have Atlanta trading out the selecting quarterback Mac Jones. So Mac Jones does kind of slide here. I feel like if he doesn't get taken by the 49ers, he will slide anyway. And teams above them. Only reason people saying he's going to the Patriots is because he's a white pocket passer. Jimmy Garoppolo and Jacoby Brissett was selected by the Patriots. I don't understand why he's viewed as the Belichick guy. Like I said, the Eagles might even shock the world and go for him, but I don't really think Washington will go for him at this point. Chicago, they don't really have a choice because their jobs are on the line. Like if Mac Jones doesn't work out right away, which I don't think he will, they'll be gone by like week 5. And I have Atlanta trading up for Mac Jones because he can sit behind Matt Ryan for a couple of years. And he's kind of like a Ryan Tannehill in the sense where a lot of his weapons will do the work for him. And I feel like that's what he could be in Atlanta, and he could grow with Kyle Pitts.
Okay.
And with the final pick, the Buccaneers selecting Gregory Rousseau, edge Miami. He's gotten a lot of hate through this process just because he kind of had 15 and a half sacks as a converted wide receiver, converted cornerback to the defensive line. But a lot of that was coming inside, and it wasn't really technical based. And Gregory Rousseau, he can be a very, very good player in this league. And then I think he'll be a great rotational guy. He can come inside with Shaq Barrett and JPP. He could just be a really good pass rusher to early on. And with the mentors of Shaq Barrett and PPP, he can grow to JPP. He can grow that he can grow that technically sound. He can grow to be technically sound.
I like it, man. Good stuff, man. No hate.
And here's the last trade. The Falcons, they need to trade some of their picks just because they can't even afford their draft class. So they might even throw in an extra 5th in this trade. And we know the Ravens, they like to trade back as well.
That's it. Looks like that's the mock draft. So good stuff. We're gonna hop into these sleepers in a minute. I wanted to talk about the Chiefs because they've done it again. Trading their first. We know they did it with Frank Clark. And now they're doing it. They did it again.
They love to do this.
Brown. They love to do this. What were your takeaways from that trade?
I honestly didn't think the Ravens would get a first for Orlando Brown. I mean, he's good, but he's not let me give a first up good. But if you really look at where the first is, it's basically an early second. It's not looking back at it, I think I thought way more of it when it first happened. But if I'm the Ravens, why am I giving him to the Chiefs? Like, that's my only concern. Like, why am I giving him to the Chiefs? It's not very smart. That's a team you can't beat. Lamar hasn't beat Mahomes ever. And now give Mahomes even more protection. Now let's see what he can do.
Yeah, man, I like what the Chiefs have done just as far as their offensive line. They got Joe Thuney. They got Kyle Long out of retirement. They get Orlando Brown, just kind of reshaping the offensive line. I'm curious to see what they do, the rest of the draft. But it's going to be interesting, man. Also, other news, we had Antonio Brown re-signing with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers. Buccaneers are the first team in the salary cap era to have all 22 starters from the Super Bowl winning team to return. That is huge. They're officially in running back mode if they already weren't. They're definitely in it now. And then we had the Teddy Bridgewater trade mentioned earlier. He's becoming a bit of a journeyman. You can say
Started with the Vikings. I mean, it's not his fault.
It's really. Not his fault. But we'll see, man. We'll see. But let's get into these sleepers, man. I'll start. I don't know if you have one at each position like me.
I do. I actually did my
Okay, best. So let's do it. I'll name a guy, then you name a guy. We'll do that. All right. So
well, I don't have that many at quarterback.
All right, for sure. I think I have 3 at quarterback. All right, but full disclosure, shout out to my guy Sean McCleary. First of all, he's on Maryland staff now. Spent some time at Springfield. Also spent some time at RPI. He helps me with the sleeper list every year. And hey man, we're sharp, bro. I've given you guys the likes of Cooper Kupp, Joe Mixon, Leighton Vander Esch, Michael Gallup. Last year I gave you guys J.K. Dobbins, Jonathan Taylor. Bink, who'd you give us last year? Go in and let us know. Go and let the people know.
I gave y'all Antonio Gibson, which I kind of don't like that dude anymore because he got 4 touchdowns on Thanksgiving against my Cowboys. I gave y'all Chase Claypool, and I also gave y'all Antoine Winfield.
And Jeremy Chin I gave out. So we killed it last year, bro. We killed it, man. Let's hop into these sleepers for this year, though. As I mentioned, I got 3 quarterbacks. My first sleeper is Kellen Mond out of Texas.
That's everybody's sleeper. That's why he can't be on my list. Everybody loves Kellen Mond.
Yeah, man. Real quick, just for the people, man. Former number one dual threat recruit in 2017. You know, he doesn't really get talked about like the other quarterbacks in the draft. He was a 4-year starter at A&M. You know, his biggest issue was pretty much consistency. But I like him, and I'm really
But
curious to see where he'll end up.
when he's on. I mean, I think he needs to go to. I wouldn't even mind him going to like the Broncos in the second round. Like he could sit for a year.
His career, and I'm not comparing them as quarterbacks, but I don't know if this is a bad comp or not. But his career reminds me of like Dak Prescott.
Yeah, I understand.
Now, when I see a guy who was good in the SEC, that's what I think about. So, who's your first sleeper, man?
My quarterback is Felipe Franks from Arkansas. People say Zach Wilson reminds them of Patrick Mahomes. If you want me to be completely honest, Felipe Franks reminds me more of Patrick Mahomes than Zach Wilson. I mean, but Felipe Franks is obviously bigger. He can make the off-platform throws. He's very mobile. I mean, I guess you could say more Josh Allen, but he reminds me more of Mahomes than. I'm not saying he'll be Mahomes. He might not ever be Mahomes. He might not ever sit the field. But if a team could pick him up, sit him for a couple years, I think he'll be a decent starter. At worst, he'll be a career backup that come in for a couple games and then just be good, like Ryan Fitzpatrick, and then just leave.
My next sleeper, another quarterback, is Brady White out of Memphis. In 3 years, he put up almost 11,000 yards and 90 touchdowns. He will be 25 when he first, as soon as he comes to the league, but doesn't really have the arm talent as far as strength, but he's very accurate, and he could end up being a byproduct of Memphis's offense, but you can't deny the numbers that he put up, man. Almost 10,690 yards to be exact, and 90 touchdowns in 3 years. That's rather impressive. So, Brady White, another one of my sleepers.
Who's your last sleeper quarterback?
No more quarterback. Okay, my last sleeper at QB is Zach Thomas out of Appalachian State. Was the Sun Belt Offensive Player of the Year in 2018, and an All Sun Belt honoree. 32-6 as a starter, and his arm talent is another thing that's caused some concerns, but his awareness is undeniable, I would say. So let's get into running backs. Bink, you can start this one since I just gave off 2 more sleepers.
Running back, I have Demetric Fulton, running back from UCLA. He is Naheem Hines. Like, that's literally who he is. He can even transform if you really want him to. At the Senior Bowl, he was running routes. So if you really want him to, you can transform him into a receiver, but he's still also an elusive running back, which I like that dual threat ability.
Yeah. My first sleeper at running back is Puka Williams Jr. out of Kansas. Was a highly touted recruit when he came out, and guy was just a beast, man. First team All Big 12, and was just great, just an all-purpose back, man. Guy had nearly 2,200 rushing yards in his first 2 seasons. One cut running back, and he has good hands for a running back, so I like him. Any more running back?
My other running back, I have to go back to the Memphis well again. Kenneth Gainwell, running back from Memphis. Oddly enough, he reminds me a lot of Antonio Gibson coming out of college. They could do it all out the backfield. They could catch, they could run. I really like the breed of running backs Memphis builds.
Yeah, shout out to Tony Pollard too.
That's my guy.
My other running back is Kylan Hill out of Mississippi State.
There's a lot of buzz on him.
Yeah, that guy, he's like a bruiser, like he's he's a bruiser. I like him. Guy runs hard, so I like Kylan Hill. Let's hop into receivers. Who you got?
Receiver, I talked about one already. He might go first round. He might go early second. Kadarius Toney. I really like Kadarius Toney. But if you want me to give another guy, I like Diami Brown out of North Carolina. He's a deep threat. The main concern with him is his route tree is limited to go and post. So, but he's gonna be a real good deep threat for any team in the league. I mean, the Chiefs could take a stab at him in the second round. Who knows?
All right, my 2 receivers. Not really gonna get too deep into it. Jalen Darden, North Texas.
North Texas.
And we got Dwayne Eskridge out of Western Michigan.
I really like Dwayne Eskridge. He's kind of smaller, but he's a really good route runner.
Yeah.
I have two other guys that I want to shout out. Tamorian Terry from Florida State University. He's also a really good deep threat. And the other one is Tylen Wallace. I don't know if he's the product of the Big 12 or if he's really this elusive after the catch.
Yeah, you're not gonna shout out Tutu Atwell.
Hey, they really talk about Devonta Smith size. Tutu Atwell is 5'8", 140.
Yeah, that guy's small, man. Let's get into tight ends. Do you have any tight ends?
I have two. One is a guy we both talk about a lot, and he's Brevin Jordan from Miami. If you miss out on Kyle Pitts, this is a poor man's Kyle Pitts, but I don't even really want to call him that because he's his own person, he's his own player. Brevin Jordan, he's really, really good after the catch. Like I said, if you miss out on Kyle Pitts, you want to get Brevin Jordan.
Yeah. I got my tight end, and this is Zach Wilson's buddy, Matt Bushman, out of BYU. He's a bit of an older prospect, but God, the measurables. This guy's 6'7". He led the team in receiving 2017, 2018, and 2019.
Jesus.
Can't deny it, bro.
There's one more tight end I have.
Okay.
It's Tommy Tremble out of Notre Dame. He's the best blocker he blocks like a guard. Like he is amazing. Like we've seen clips of him just block people completely out of frame. The one knock on him is that he can't really catch the ball well, and it reminds people a lot of George Kittle. I'm not going to say he's going to be George Kittle, but I think he could be a top 15 tight end in the league. I think he really can.
Okay. Offensive line. I got two linemen. I got Quinn Miners, out of Wisconsin Whitewater.
Yeah.
He was really impressive in the Senior Bowl performance, and he had a really good pro day. And he's a deep sleeper, man. Really, really impressed people during the Senior Bowl, and that's pretty much how he gained his buzz. So I like him, and Spencer Brown out of Northern Iowa. God, this guy's he's huge, bro. 6'8", 311.
Jesus.
Yeah, it's just ridiculous. It's ridiculous. But
my one offensive lineman, he protects Zach Wilson's blind side. Brady Christensen, he is athletic.
I like this.
He's one of the most athletic offensive linemen in this class. Injury concerns, but he'll be a guy that's around in the third, fourth round that you might want to take a stab
at. Okay. DBs.
I have a lot of them.
I only have a couple. I have Aaron Robinson out of UCF. God just got good size for NFL corner. 6'1", 193. He originally, people don't know this, but he originally enrolled at Alabama and played in 13 games as a true freshman, and then transferred to UCF and had to sit out a year, and then ended up playing 9 games. As a junior, he started 10 out of 13 games and earned second team All AAC with 54 tackles, 5.5 tackles for loss, 3 picks, 10 pass breakups, and was second team All AAC in 2020. I like this guy, Aaron Robinson, right here.
There's another corner from UCF that I really like. His name is Tay Gowan. He's really technically sound.
What's his name?
Tay Gowan.
Tay Gowan, okay. I got another DB. I don't know how to say his name. Is he USC guys? I don't know how you say his name. Talanoa? I don't know. Hufanga? I don't know.
Oh, I know who you're talking about. I've seen his name before.
He's a box safety that plays with a lot of speed. I mean, a lot of not speed, but like he has really good instincts. And yeah, guy's a hitter. Guy's a hitter, man. I like him. Second All Pac-12.
I got a couple more DBs that I kind of just want to shout out quickly. Elijah Molden, he can play safety, he can play slot corner. He'll be another guy that'll go in day 2. And if I want to mention a box safety, he's a guy I had in Madden before, Divine Diablo from Virginia Tech. He's really, really good. He's huge. He is huge, and he plays safety. He hits really hard. He has good hands.
Yeah, I like the.
Um, Another guy with good hands, Andre Cisco. He's had like 13 interceptions. Like he's a ball hawk. And if we're talking about one of the guys I want the Cowboys to draft, that's one of the guys I want them to get their hands on. Our Darius Washington, the only concern is he's 5'8", but his range is incredible. And the last guy I want to shout out is Jamar Johnson from Houston. He can do it all. He can be in the box. He can play single high. He's a really good prospect.
We did kind of skip over D line, but I just wanted to name these guys real quick. We got Alam McNeil from NC State.
Alan McNeil.
Yeah, Alan McNeil from NC State. I got Kyrus Tanga from BYU and Jalen Twyman out of Pitt. And then my linebacker is Tony Fields out of West Virginia.
My defensive lineman, I got Davion Nixon, defensive tackle from Iowa, and I got Peyton Turner, edge from Houston. I think he could really have a big impact. And my linebacker, I know you're not gonna like this, is a Michigan guy, Cameron Grown. He just plays with a lot of speed. Injury concern, but he plays with a lot of speed.
He does. He is fast, bro. I'm not even gonna lie to you. I'm not even gonna sit up here and cap, man. I don't got no kickers and punters, sleepers. I'm sorry, people. It's not that I forgot about kickers and punters. I just don't have no sleepers. So, I want to ask you. I mentioned mine, but who is your most intriguing? And then we're gonna get into who are you most enamored with. Who are your favorites? So, who are you most intrigued with in this draft class? It could be one. It could be another. It could be two guys. Who are you most intrigued with?
I would say the guy I'm most intrigued with is Trey Lance, just because he's rarely played even at a FBS level. But
I was gonna say he's kind of a mystery guy.
yeah, but he looks to be really good. He might have the strongest arm in the draft and also be the best runner in the draft. If we're talking about a quarterback, that is very, very important. It's crazy that Mac Jones played the same amount of games as him, but he's thrown 28 touchdowns, 0 interceptions, and everybody's going to point to, yeah, he had like 12 drop interceptions. I mean, all quarterbacks have dropped interceptions. Mahomes had like 14 dropped interceptions. They're going to happen. He's going to make mistakes. I mean, he's very, very intriguing. And a lot of people around the NFL says a lot of the NFL teams thinks he's really, really smart. He had an offer to go to Harvard. He chose North Dakota State over Harvard.
I haven't heard anything bad about Trey Lance.
Yeah,
I haven't. It's just the only bad thing that people say is he just hasn't. We haven't seen enough of him, and he didn't play last year. So that's literally the only thing. He's a bit of a mystery guy, but I think he'll translate. So, for me, I mentioned earlier Jalen Waddle. The guy was originally the number 1 receiver, and that's kind of crazy to believe when you look at what Devonta Smith was able to do in his absence. You know, he like Devonta Smith was special, but Jalen Waddle was supposed to be sharing that workload with him.
And he was early in the season.
He was, and he was on returns, and that's where he got hurt on the return. But he's special. Obviously, you can't teach speed. I'm really, really intrigued because I think he can end up on a number of teams, whether it's somebody trading up for him or whether it's somebody early.
Cardinals really like him.
Yeah.
They only have like 5 picks, so he can't really trade up.
So we'll see, man. I'm really, really impressed with Jalen Waddle, and which leads to players you are enamored with, and Jalen Waddle is one of them.
Yeah, Jalen Waddle. He might be him and J.C. Horn. They're right here for my favorite player in the class. J.C. Horn is another player I'm enamored with. I hate that I'm talking about the same guys, but Trey Lance is another player I really like. You know, when I first started scouting these quarterbacks, like even early in the process, I was like, Trey Lance, he's going to be really, really good. Yeah.
I'm not enamored with anybody. I like J.C. Horn, and I like Jalen Waddle, and I like JOK, but
JOK is really good.
I'm not enamored with anybody.
Yeah.
I like Justin Fields as well because I like Ohio State guys.
I feel like it's a lot of stars in this class, but there's not that many superstars, if that makes sense.
Yeah, and I mean, I feel like people would probably wonder why I'm not enamored with Kyle Pitts. I'm just not. It's hard for me to fall in love with a tight end. I don't. I know
Yeah,
he's not just any tight end, and he's viewed as like a Tony Gonzalez, like, but bro, like a freakish Tony Gonzalez. But I'm just not. I don't know what it is, man. I'm
like
not.
Micah Parsons is also really good.
I like Micah
Like
Parsons too,
it's a lot of guys that you would like.
but yeah, I'm not enamored with
Like
any.
we didn't even mention Sertain. Like Sertain, he's really good.
I like him too.
But I just feel like he has a low ceiling.
It's a lot of guys I like, but I don't got nobody I love. Like last year, I loved me some Chase Young. I still love me some Chase Young, but I don't. It's just a bunch of guys I like. It's just a bunch of guys I like, man, and that's crazy. But we'll see, man. You got any final thoughts before we get up out of here?
We didn't do most likely to be a bust this year.
I don't. All right, you go ahead. I don't know if I have anybody.
I have a couple guys that they fall into the wrong situation. Micah Parsons is one of them. Like if he falls into the wrong situation, which could even be Dallas, he could be a bust. I definitely think he could be a bust if he falls into the wrong situation. Another guy's JOK, just because some team might not know how to use him, kind of like the Cardinals did with Isaiah Simmons this season, and then he just turns out to be a bust. I think if Christian Barmore gets selected in the first round, he might be able to be a bust. And the last guy, it's hard for you to bust in the 49ers system, but if he doesn't go to the 49ers, Mac Jones could be a bust. Because he might end up in the Eagles by the end of the draft night. Who knows where he goes?
Uh, all right, I got one. I hate to say it. I talked about it earlier, but I think Zach Wilson could potentially be a bust if the Jets aren't patient with him. And like I said, professional sports is what have you done for me lately? I don't think he's going to produce. It's hard for me to see Zach Wilson come in and he transforms the Jets.
Yeah, because it's even like
That cannot, it won't happen.
because even if Mahomes came straight out of college right onto the Jets roster, people forget Mahomes sat a year with one of the best offensive minds. You're going into the Jets with no stability, a defensive minded head coach who is a player's coach, not even X and O guy. You're going in there with an unproven offensive coordinator, and well, I know he's Matt LaFleur's brother, but he's still unproven. So it's like it's just a lot of unknowns there. You don't have that number one wide receiver. I mean, Corey Davis, he was good last year.
The line isn't great.
That was pretty much the only year he was good, and he doesn't even have a defense to fall back on, or even a running game.
Yeah.
I mean, shout out to Ty Johnson, but he's not much there.
And you're in a really good division. The Bills won it last year. The Patriots appear to be they're going to be good, at least on paper. I think they'll be good. And the
Dolphins will be decent.
Dolphins had double-digit wins last season. So good luck, man. Good luck. Those are 6 losses. To be real, those are 6 losses out of
Hey, they might be able to sneak one against the Dolphins.
anything's possible. I'll say that. I will say that, but that's all I got. I think. Is that it? Did we hit everything? Did we hit on everything?
Yeah, I think so.
Feel like we did. But all right. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank everybody for the continued love and support. Bink, I really, really appreciate you coming on and doing this again. We'll be back next year for part 3.
I don't have any problem doing it.
But Bink will be back on once the schedule drops. And we'll talk a little more NFL, man. I wish NFL would hurry up, bro. I'm at a point where I'm a little disgusted with the NBA right now. But I think when the playoffs roll around, I'll be just fine. But yeah, man, NFL draft is here.
I'm about to tell you something that's gonna make you laugh real quick.
What?
The Kings are down 100-63 right now.
Hey, making money with Mike has not been as successful in a couple of weeks. I did not play the Kings. Bing told me not to. So, yeah. That's another story for another day. I want to thank everybody for listening. I want to thank you guys for the continued love and support. For the YouTube people, man, please like, comment, subscribe. Send me some feedback, good and bad. Did you like Bink's mock draft? You like me, let me know, man. Let me know something, man. But appreciate you guys. to my audience for the continued love and support. I'm Mike Curry. I'm signing out. Episode number 165 is done. I love you guys. Peace out.
Peace.